Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Lila WebDev. In this video, we will try to see how to create new threads using the Node.js. Right now, you have a pretty understanding about the thread concept and all those things. So let's try to see how we can create the threading thing in this one. So now, here this is our app.js file. Let's go to the app.js file. I will be removing it all. So for creating a new thread in the Node.js, we will be using the worker underscore threads module to run the JavaScript code in a separate thread. So each of its thread will be having its own event loop and also the context. So let's try to see about this one. Already told you that worker underscore threads module will be used to create a new thread, right? So Node.js has a built-in module that is called as a worker underscore threads. So in order to create a new thread, we need to import that one. So here you will be using something like constant worker is equal to require node worker underscore threads. So you can use this worker underscore threads. This is the thing which you will be trying to use. Okay, or otherwise you can use worker underscore threads. So anyway, so it's a built-in module, right? If it is a built-in module means so you can add the node prefix here so that the node will be able to understand that this is a built-in. Fine. So now here something important. Here the worker, it should be starts with the capital letter W. So this is the constructor we will be using to create the new threads. So first of all, so creating a new thread. To create a new thread, we need to use something like new worker. So here we need to create an object. So new worker, and we need to give the path file. So the first argument is the path to a JavaScript file that will run in another thread. So this file, whatever the file you are trying to write it, it will have its own event loop will be having, and also its own context means the variables and all those things are different to each other, and it will be completely separate from the main thread. So this completely it will be independent from the main thread. So let's try to create this one and we'll see how we can able to see the example one. So I will be creating here a new file that is nothing but calc.js file, and here in this calc.js file just I will try to have a constant a is equal to 1000, and I will try to do the console.log of a. So this is just the thing which I would be trying to do. And let's go to the app.js file. And now in the app.js file, what I would be trying to do is we have imported the built-in module, right? So just I will try to have the constant a is equal to 400. So don't think that this a and this a will be overlapping to each other. I told you, right? It is completely independent of the context. And here this a is completely different and this a is also completely different. I will try to show you. So here I will try to use this console.log of a. So here the a will be printed as 400. So now here we'll be having constant thread1 is equal to new worker of, so I need to give the path of this one. So dot calculate.js file. So this is our thing, and constant thread2 we'll be having another one that is nothing but thread2 is equal to, so new worker of calc.js file. So here also you'll be having calc.js file. That's it. So now these are the two threads which we'll be having. Now the a in the app.js file and the a in the calculator.js file are totally separate. So logging a in the one file doesn't affect the other. So let's try to see this one. So if you try to run this one in our node app.js file, now you'll be able to see the 400 has been printed and the 1000 is able to print in the from the calculate.js file. So why? Because we have created our two threads. So that is one thing. So now here the names thread1 and thread2 are just the variable names. That doesn't mean that these are literally the first and the second threads in the node process. Node already has the threads running in the background. So just if you try to run this node means, so you can able to see the node will be already having the threads which I have already shown you. So that is the thing. Now we can also create the threads using later also if you want to create the threads you can also create it. So let's say that I can use the set timeout, and here I can use it something like constant thread3 is equal to new worker. So this is the same code, you can copy it and you can paste it here. So this one also you can able to use it. Now if I try to run this node app.js file, clear node app.js file, so then also you'll be able to see that 1000 has been printed. Okay, so let's try to have it as a 5000. Okay, after 5 seconds it will be created. So now if I run this one, So let's try to see the activity monitor. So here we are having the 7 threads, okay, and 8 threads has been printed and it's gone away. So now by default, these threads will start, run their code and exit immediately if there is nothing to keep them alive. Why? Because in our thread code, if you try to see here, nothing is there. So it will start immediately, execute it and exit immediately. So nothing is there in there, right? If you want to keep these threads alive, so what can you do? We can add something like set interval so that it will be expecting the some out executions to be done after particular interval of time. So you can have something like 1000 for every second we need to execute some code. So we are not writing any code. So this keeps the event loop active so that the thread won't exit. So let's try to run this one. So if you go here in our thing and here I will try to run this one, and if you see the activity monitor, so we are having the 9 threads, and if you try to see here, so thread has been activated. Why? Because after 5 seconds we are creating a new thread, right? So that's why threads from 9 to 10 it has been updated. So that is the thing. So you will be able to see after 5 seconds another thread is appearing and it stays alive. So the main thread will be running. So now visualizing the flow, if you try to understand, think of it is like this. So now first of all, whenever you are trying to run this app.js file, main thread starts with a is equal to 400, okay, and the thread 1 starts with a is equal to 1000 and thread 2 starts with a is equal to 1000. After 5 seconds or something like that, thread 3 starts with a is equal to 1000. Each has its own variables and event loop completely separate to each other. So this is how the threads concept will be implemented in the Node.js. So first of all, you need to understand the key differences between the main thread and also these subthreads also. These threads also you need to understand. So one thing which you need to understand is process.exist. So now normally what we will try to do, so whenever you want to exit this one, so you will be able to use this process.exit of 1 or 0, something like that we used to give in the child process, right? So this process.exit, if you try to use it in the calculate.js file, so now what it will try to do in a worker thread, if you try to use this process.exit, it will exit only the thread, not the whole process. So if you try to run this one, so let's go to here, and if I try to run again here, so here if you try to see the activity monitor, okay, so here see we are having threads and thread has been automatically exited. See, so now what I want to see, what I want to tell, process.exit only exits the thread. So now here if you try to see in the code, so here it has been done. So here it has been done. So if you in the main thread, if you want, so another one which I want to tell you is logging inside. So if you're trying to use console.log inside a worker thread, so whenever you're trying to log, that is nothing but standard in, standard out and standard error, which we have learned in our Unix thing. So these all the standard input, standard output and errors thing. So it will send the message to the main thread. So the worker thread will not print the thing in the control in the terminal. So it will send it to the main thread, and the main thread will be taking the data and it will display the data. So that means if the main thread is blocked means, so you will not able to see this console.log from the worker thread, and it won't show until the main thread is free. So that means, for example, let's say that here you will be able to see something like I can able to do for let I is equal to 0, I less than, so I can use some big number, okay, I plus plus, and if I'm trying to loop over this one, so now until and unless this, now this main thread is, this blocks the main thread, so logs from the workers won't appear until it finishes, but the workers are still in the running in the background. If you try to run this code, so let's try to run this code so that you can able to understand clearly. Let's try to run this code. So now here I will be clearing of this one, node app.js. If I am running this code, so see you will not able to see the printing of this one. So now the 1000 and all those things are not getting printed until and unless the thread is freed up. So now here the thread is freed up. So now after sometimes this one is coming. So here you need to understand that this for loop is blocking the main thread and it won't appear until it finishes. But the workers will be still running on the background. So that is what you need to understand. So running heavy tasks in the multiple threads. We can also run the heavy loops and all those things inside the calculator.js file also. Let's say that we will be having, I have removed this one. Let's say that I am using something like while of true, and I will be using it something like this. So now this is an indefinite loop. So if we create 3 days, each of these things will you fully use one CPU core. So here in app.js we are creating 3 threads, and these 3 threads are using an infinite loop. Now if you try to run this code, so what will happen? So let's try to see node app.js file. So I am running this one. Let's go to the activity monitor, and if you try to see here, so we are having the core something around 200, so fully utilizing this one. So if you try to see here, it is, we have created 3 threads, so that's why it is utilizing 300. Okay, 300% of CPU it is using. So 3 threads are using the 3 CPUs cores. So that is one thing which you need to understand. So now if you create a 3 threads means each one will fully use one CPU core. In activity monitor you will be able to see the CPU usage is around 300%. So that is one thing. So now you can exit out this one. So not only this one, you can also, so here we have created threads dynamic, not dynamically, statically, right? So if you want, you can also create threads dynamically also. For example, let's say that you are, you know that for let I is equal to 0, I less than 4 if you are having, and I plus plus. So here you can create the new worker of .calc.js file. So here we am creating 4 times the thread. So if you see here, if I try to execute this one, and if you go to the activity monitor, automatically it was around 400. So that means it is utilized, 4 threads has been created and it is using it. And here you will be able to see the 11 threads. So 4 threads means 400% CPU core on a 10 core system. So 10 threads we can use it. So that means it will try to go 10,000%. So if you try to create it means I'm having a 10 cores, I can use this 10. So it goes around 1000% or something like that. Let's try to see it. So now if I try to run it, so 1000 times it is executing, and if you try to see here, it is going around 600 to 600%. Why? Because two cores of this one is using around my recording, so that's why you are able to see 700%. So like this, you can able to use this one. Actual numbers may be a bit lower due to the background tasks and all those things, so I don't want to tell you. So that's it guys about this one. So in the summary, what we have did it, we have used the worker threads to create a separate threads in the Node.js. Each threads has its own event loop, and also the context variables are different. Threads can be created anytime, kept alive with events, and run CPU heavy tasks in parallel. So that is nothing there. You can spawn as many threads as your CPU can handle, often one per core. So you can, if you want, you can handle how many threads you want, you can handle it. In future videos, what we'll try to is, we'll try to see how to communicate between the threads also. We can see it using the messages. So that's it for this video on creating new threads on spawning new threads or creating new threads in the Node.js. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more Node.js tutorials. So that's it guys about this. Thank you. See you in the next video.